The wind cut sharply through the quiet Boston suburb, carrying the smell of snow and exhaust as Anna stood on the front porch, staring at the door that had just closed behind her. It wasn't slammed. That would have hurt less. It shut with a soft, final click, like the end of a meeting, or the closing of a file. 5 years of marriage. 5 years of doctors' waiting rooms, polite smiles, and words that sounded gentle but landed like stones. Infertility, unexplained, low probability. Her husband's voice still echoed in her head, calm and practiced, as if he'd rehearsed it. I need a real family, he'd said, ice cold. I can't waste my life waiting for something that won't happen. She had wanted to scream, to remind him of the nights she cried alone in bathrooms, of the injections, the pills, the prayers whispered at dawn. Instead, she'd stood there silently. Habit had trained her well, be quiet, don't make things harder. Now she was outside, a single suitcase beside her, her wedding ring heavy on her finger. Snowflakes landed on her hair, melting slowly, like the last of something warm leaving her body. Anna began to walk. Street after street passed, each house glowing from the inside. Through windows she saw fragments of lives she thought she would have, children arguing over homework, a woman stirring a pot while someone kissed her cheek, laughter floating into the cold night air. Every light felt like an accusation. Her phone buzzed. Mom calling. She couldn't answer. Not yet. She didn't want to hear the worry, or worse, the quiet pity. Her feet carried her to a small community library, closed for the night, its brick steps dusted with snow. Exhausted, Anna sat on a bench, hugging her coat tight, finally letting the tears fall. She didn't sob. She cried silently, the way she'd learned to cry during her marriage. That's when she noticed the boy. He sat on the library steps, swinging his legs, humming softly to himself. His backpack was neatly placed beside him. He didn't look scared, but he looked alone. Hey, Anna said gently, wiping her face. It's cold to be out here. Are you lost? The boy shook his head. No, Mom. My dad's just late. Late. The word twisted something inside her. She sat closer, careful not to frighten him. What's your name? Ethan. They sat in silence for a moment, snow collecting on the ground between them. Anna watched the street, a strange sense of responsibility settling in her chest. Caring for someone, even for a few minutes, felt painfully familiar and comforting. Headlights appeared at the end of the block. A black SUV pulled up, expensive and out of place. A tall man stepped out, coat open, tie loosened, his face marked by exhaustion and worry. Ethan, he called, rushing over. I'm so sorry, buddy. It's okay, Ethan said brightly. She stayed with me. The man turned to Anna. Thank you, he said sincerely. I'm Michael Carter. The name landed hard. Anna had seen it in headlines, tech CEO, widower, single father. A man admired for success and quiet resilience. I didn't do much, Anna replied, suddenly self-conscious. I was just sitting. Michael studied her, not rudely, but carefully. Years of leadership had taught him to read people beyond words. He noticed her trembling hands, the suitcase, the red eyes. Were you waiting for someone too? He asked. Anna hesitated. Then, with nothing left to protect, she told the truth. No, she whispered. I was sent away. Michael didn't press. He just nodded slowly. After a long pause, he said the words that would change everything. Then you shouldn't be alone tonight. Come with us. And for the first time since the door had closed behind her, Anna felt the cold loosen its grip. It closed softly behind Anna, like the ending of a conversation that had been decided long ago. The porch light flickered above her as snow drifted down from the dark Boston sky, settling on the single suitcase at her feet. You can go, her husband had said, adjusting his watch. I need a woman who can give me a future. 5 years. 5 years of hospitals, tests, calendars marked with hope, then crossed out with disappointment. 5 years of her whispering maybe next time while he slowly learned to stop caring. Unfertile. That word had become her sentence. Anna stood frozen for a moment, half expecting the door to open again. It didn't. Habit had done its job, he had practiced leaving her long before tonight. She walked. Her shoes sank into fresh snow as she passed neat houses glowing with warmth. Through the windows she saw everything she had lost without ever holding it, children laughing, parents arguing gently, hands passing plates across dinner tables. Each home felt like a mirror showing her what she was no longer allowed to be. Her phone vibrated. Mom. She turned it off. By the time she reached the small community library, her legs were shaking. The building was closed, dark and quiet, its brick steps dusted white. Anna sat on a bench, clutching her coat, and finally let herself cry. Not loudly, not desperately, quietly, like someone who had learned that pain should never inconvenience others. That's when a soft voice broke the silence. You okay? Anna looked up. A little boy sat on the library steps, his legs swinging back and forth, a bright backpack beside him. He couldn't have been older than 6. His face was calm, but his eyes kept checking the street. I should be asking you that, Anna said, forcing a smile. It's cold. Where are your parents? My dad's coming, the boy said confidently. He's always late. Something about that certainty made Anna's chest ache. She sat closer, instinct kicking in. Protect, watch, wait, habits she never got to use. Minutes passed, snow thickened, then headlights cut through the darkness. A black SUV stopped abruptly at the curb. A tall man stepped out, worry written all over his face. Ethan, he called. The boy jumped up. Dad. The man rushed over, kneeling to hug him tightly. I'm so sorry. The meeting. It's okay, Ethan said proudly, pointing. She stayed with me. The man looked up. Thank you, he said, standing. I'm Michael Carter. Anna's breath caught. She knew that name. Everyone did. A powerful CEO. A widower. A man who had lost his wife and raised his son alone. I didn't do anything, Anna murmured. Michael didn't look convinced. His eyes moved to the suitcase. Her red, swollen eyes. The way she stood like someone expecting to be told to leave again. Were you waiting for someone? He asked gently. Anna's voice trembled. No, I was told to go. Michael understood more than she said. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke, firm but kind, like a decision made from experience. No one should be alone in weather like this, he said. Then, looking directly at her, he added, come with us. The snow kept falling, but for the first time that night, Anna felt something warmer than fear. Hope.